people, welcome to the Run Testers. My name's Kieran and I am here today to talk to you about these. These are the ASICS Novablast. They are a pretty seriously stacked max cushioned shoe featuring a new foam called FlyteFoam Blast from ASICS. It's a bit of a departure from those guys from what we've seen in the past. I've put a few miles in these and I'm going to give you a whip round the shoe and tell you what I've made from them so far ahead of a full review that will come from myself and Tom a bit later. So here's what I found from my early miles in the ASICS Novablast. So let's start from the top. ASICS describes these as a shoe that will suit the younger runner who's looking for more spring and more fun. So what do they mean by that? Well, they're actually talking about people they admit aren't really runners, people who wouldn't necessarily describe themselves as out and out runners, the kind of people who maybe would do an Orange Theory or a high tempo HIIT class, but also a bit of running, maybe like a treadmill crossover session. But if you asked them, they wouldn't identify as a runner. They would probably say that they're not really a runner, but they run occasionally. That said, I've seen some ASICS employees kind of pointing out that these actually might find a place in your shoe rotation if you're a performance runner too. So let's have a look around the shoe and see what we've got here and see how they stack up. Right, so we have to start with this big slab of midsole foam. This is FlyteFoam Blast. Now, it's a new, I haven't got the exact detail of what this foam is made of. I have tried to check in with ASICS to confirm that, but I'm not 100% yet. We'll have that detail for you in the full review. But what you've got is a 21 mil stack height, so you've got a 10 mil drop, and this is really a more maximalist shoe than we've seen from ASICS to date. It is a little bit reminiscent of the likes of Hoka, and it's no surprise, the popularity of Hoka, we've seen ASICS kind of pick up and take that and run with it now as well. What you've really got here, and I'm going to use ASICS' own words to describe this, this is how they say this foam is supposed to operate. It is supposed to be a midsole design that takes inspiration from a trampoline. Now underneath, you've also got a big cut groove here. And what is supposed to happen, as your foot goes down, this is supposed to kind of collapse in and then spring out, sort of like a trampoline. But you've also got this cushioning, you can see, is really, I'm trying to show you that, it's really soft. It's really soft and really squishy, right? And that is supposed to create almost the idea of that you're a trampoline effect as you run. So super plush cushioning, but also a springy, bouncy trampoline effect as you run. And they say that that is supposed to be useful for allowing runners to spring from stride to stride, and also that the energetic ride is going to help runners find their rhythm and feel their fastest. So we'll come on to whether or not these can let you run at your fastest a little bit later on, but let's have a little look at the uppers. So what you've got is a fabric mesh upper. It's called a jacquard mesh upper to give it its fancy name that ASICS have given it, and that I believe relates to the sort of type of the weaving that's gone on here. But what's really sort of most interesting, there's nice flex in it. It's fairly soft, flexible, malleable, and if you like that, you don't like too much sort of rigidity in the uppers of your shoes, you're going to like these. You also will see here that there's actually a lot of grooves cut, and these underneath there's almost like a see-through netting that goes underneath those slats, and that really makes for a super breathable upper. There's plenty of air circulating in these shoes. You can even see kind of light coming through underneath into the shoe through those slats. On the outside, there is a little bit of structure added by these by the tiger stripes here, but there's not too much in terms of overlays on the rest of the shoe. It's all pretty free and gives you sort of freedom to move and lots of flexibility. There's a little bit here on the heel counter. I think the other thing that's to notice actually from ASICS shoes that normally come with quite a fat padded collar, there's a more reduced kind of collar cushioning, and actually I find that to be pretty comfortable. Nice rounded out. It's a little bit hard on the back, and I don't know if you can see there actually, I've just noticed that there's a little bit of a spot here, and I think that's from wearing on my lower Achilles from where I've worn them over just a few runs, so that might be one to watch. You've got really, I think sort of soft, easy to manage laces, which is something that not all shoes I've tested recently have had. You will have to double knot them though, because they're quite slippy and they had a tendency to come loose. So what you've got here is also a really light shoe. It's 275 grams in the men's and 225 in the women's. And you can feel that in the hand. A lot of that apparently is down to the way that this foam operates. It's super light and you can still apparently get the bounce without weight cost, but we'll come to that later. The other thing that's really important to mention, this is really not a stability shoe. Many of ASICS shoes are stability shoes. They're famous for that. But check this out. Twist that. You can see, look at the movement on that bad boy. That will twist and you get that sensation on the run. So if you're looking for a stability shoe, if you need a stability shoe, this is not going to be for you at all in any stretch of the imagination. You want to look elsewhere. So I guess the other thing that's a bit noteworthy, we kind of have to sort of reference this now for most shoes. There is no carbon plate. There's no plate in this at all. It's nothing, it's not like the MetaRide or the GlideRide or those ones. This is going to be in a family of shoes, I understand it, with the Dynablast and another shoe. So expect to see more of this FlyteFoam Blast foam coming in other shoes soon. But for now, that is the quick whip round of the Novablast. Let's find out how they run. So the important bit, how did they feel in those early miles? Now, one of my runs was an 8-miler that I took in maybe 4 miles of tarmac road. I did about, maybe 2 miles on sort of compacted gravel, and then I did the rest on sort of slightly soft woodland, where some of it was a bit grassy, a bit mushy. It's been wet here. So it was a good mix, and I mixed up the tempos. So some at my sort of higher end of my pace, which is around the 6-minute mile mark, some at the lower end of that, 8s and 9s, hills, you name it. I kind of put this shoe through that to see how it fared. The minute you put these on, you feel that foam underneath. You feel that it's soft, it's squishy, it's a little bit unstable even in the walk. You do feel a little bit up on your forefoot, but it's nowhere near as pronounced as something like a Vaporfly Elite. You don't feel the propulsion in the step from walking that you would get with a carbon plated shoe, in my opinion. And then once you get moving, my initial reaction to this, and I've listened to a lot of reviews actually out there from other people who say completely the opposite, but my initial reaction to this was, wow, this is hard work running in these. Other people have reported that they are bouncy, springy, responsive. I thought everything the opposite. The first 4 miles of this, I wanted to turn around and I wanted to take the shoes off and swap them out for something else. I felt like I was having to work really hard to get my foot to come off the ground. I was sinking, and that foam that squidges down, I didn't feel it propelled back at all. I'm kind of a mid-foot, forefoot striker. I wasn't really using this back bit so much. I don't know whether that has an effect. But I was really, I wasn't a fan, I have to be honest. I felt almost like I was running through sand, and I've run in the desert at the Marathon des Sables, and for some stretches along the flat sandy bits, it felt like that kind of energy loss in my legs. I mean, no one else has reported this, so it might just be me, and I'm looking forward to hearing from Tom, our other run tester, who's going to be taking these for a spin as well, and he'll be featuring in our full review, so we'll get some balance there, whether it's just me. But I didn't find them springy, I didn't find them bouncy, I found them kind of sapping, I found them sloppy, and then we lead on to this idea that they are fun but fast. Now, fun, I don't really know what that means in terms of running. Even if you're a casual runner, you're someone who mainly goes into the gym and works out and does fitness and then does a bit of cardio running in there, and you're looking for fun in the shoes. I don't know. I mean, if you're talking about one of the use cases that I've heard people say is that maybe like someone who does Orange Theory. For people who don't know, Orange Theory, hit-based treadmill and workout classes where you've got that combined. I wouldn't use these on a treadmill. They felt way too unstable on the road. And I think, I haven't tested them on the treadmill, but my instinct is that they're going to be really, really sort of wobbly. And if you add this kind of wobble to the bounce of the treadmill, I just think it's not going to be that comfortable. I actually went out for my second run and I put these one shoe, one Novablast on one foot, and I wore one of the Nike Infinity, React Infinity on the other foot. Now I think these shoes might be aimed at sort of slightly similar people. If you're looking for a bit of a cushion everyday training shoe that, you know, offers you a little bit of cushioning, then these two shoes might fall into the same bracket. But the sensation is completely different, actually. Even by, you know, the Infinity React standards, they felt super firm compared to these, and they felt very stable. That you felt that wider base, and I much preferred those. I much preferred the Nikes for a sensation, because when you wanted to take it up a notch, I found it far more responsive, and I found there was far more coming back from the shoe than when I tried to kick it up in these. I didn't even find them that great at slower miles. I do want to take them out for more runs because I want to give them a full, thorough go, but that was just my first instinct, was not really a positive one. I did like the way the uppers felt on the move. I felt that was super comfortable. I did find them light. I just didn't find that there was enough kickback from this crazy looking sole, and I even compared to like a Hoka Rincon or like a you know, or a Clifton, I don't know. I just I like my shoes to be a bit firmer, so maybe that's just me. If you like super spongy, super cushioned, then these are going to tick all the boxes for you, because that's what you get. I just don't think that I would be looking to use them in fast runs, and I'm not sure that they, because of the lack of stability, that I would go for them on my short or my longer runs, either my longer, slower runs. Now, when it comes to fit, these come up really quite wide. Actually, there's an awful lot of room across this bit of the sort of mid to forefoot. The toe box is really roomy. I'm an 8.5. This is a UK 8.5, so trying the size that I'm supposed to be in, and my toes come up a little bit further down the shoe, so there's a little bit of a gap in the top, and there's loads and loads of room for the toes to move around. Some people might not like that. If you like your shoe to hug really close and really sort of secure and not have too much movement in the toes and actually too much around these side walls here, then this might not be the shoe for you. You do have to work quite hard with the laces to kind of lock it down and get it tight across the top. And I know that on some other reviews, people have talked about a little bit of slippage because of the fact that there's so much space. So, you know, sometimes I'll recommend people to go half size up. I've got big, kind of wide, fat feet. I say that in every review, but it's there. And these I found to be sort of plenty spacious, and I think spacious to the point that some people might find them a little bit too spacious. So I think have a check with your sizing, and you know, go with your preferences. If you like them to feel really snug, you might want to go half size down. If you like a bit of room, then I think you'll be fine going true to size. I really found them super comfortable. When you first put them on, actually the uppers I found really nice. Disappearing, they work with the foot, they feel comfortable around the foot. There isn't a really sort of tight lockdown, but then I'm quite a fan of having a bit of wiggle room, and I like the fact that they flex and there's not too much rigidity even down the kind of sidewalls and into the midfoot, forefoot area. The collar, I think that the heel kind of sits nicely back into the shoe, and this will hug around the base of the Achilles nicely. That's perhaps a little bit high, and I know some people have talked about a little bit of potential blistering with the high back here, but actually I found there to be sort of ample cushioning in the back, and they do feel sort of soft and comfy and kind of really sort of cozy, if you want to use that word. Tongue's fine. And so, yeah, I mean, I think on fit, loose, much looser. You know, we spoke about the Adidas SL20 in a couple of videos back and how tight and narrow those felt. These are almost the opposite to that. They're wide and roomy for sure. So there you have it. There's my thoughts, my first early run thoughts with the ASICS Novablast. We will be following up with a full review soon, just as soon as Tom has had a chance to go out and do some miles. And I've put in a few more in this to give them a proper, thorough opportunity to shine. If you want to see that review, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and you'll be notified when that comes through. Also, if you've got any questions, things you want to see us answer, in our upcoming review. Let us know in the comments below and we will test anything that you want us to. We'd love to hear what it is that you'd love to know about the ASICS Novablast, whether it's other shoes that you think we should be looking to compare it to. Anything basically, hit us up. We will endeavour to answer the questions that you have. Thanks for listening, people. I've been Kieran and I'm done. I'm out. That's it. I'm going. I'm finished. Bye.